Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Lighting Your Sunshine, where we like to shine a light within and empower ourselves. So it's been a while since I've done a reading, so I thought let's just tap into the collective and see what the main energy is that we can tap into and learn greatly from. And so when I did that, of course, you can't tap into the collective without hearing two names right now. Well, a lot more, but it seems everywhere you go, you hear Taylor Swift and you hear Britney Spears. And I'm thrilled to see all these women who, you know what, they've been through a lot just because they were women. And so, what do I mean by this? If they, okay, take Taylor Swift for example, artists weren't really making much money on Spotify. And so she fought really, really hard to get paid more per views. And then at one point, there were all these other artists that were going against her and calling her greedy. But because she did that, she was able to help so many independent artists. And then, like, this is even before, back in the day. Fast forward to right now and the things that she's doing. She's kickstarting economies, things like that. But there's a whole album called Reputation because her reputation was going down the drain with some of the things that she had to fight for. And she stood her ground, she kept doing it, and now, right, she's making headlines about how much change and how much greatness, and she's bringing people together. So that's Taylor Swift. Let's fast forward, which I just think Britney Spears just shared a picture of her and Taylor Swift on her Instagram. Yep, she totally did. So there we go. There's that connection of that. But, right, so, you know, Taylor Swift was going through all these things, trying to and everyone kept calling her greedy. So then we fast forward to Britney Spears, and what comes to your mind when you hear that name? It's probably tabloids and, you know, family problems and, you know, partying recklessly, paparazzi and shaving their head, all these things. But you can't really judge someone's life from the outside and know what they're going through. And so she took all of this on her chin, right? She got dealt blow after blow after blow. And she never spoke up because, you know, people knew exactly the things that was on her heart to manipulate her. But in through all this, she became so strong. She became so resilient. There are parts, right? You can only get treated poorly so long before you start to lash out, right? And rebel, right? As we said, Taylor Swift had her reputation, right? There is a rebellion that kind of comes. And I am happy to see both of them kind of, you know, stepping up and speaking their truth now against people who wanted to control them in ways, right? You take Taylor Swift and they wanted to take her masters and, you know, have her make money for them. And then Britney Spears was like a puppet for so many years, right? On Vegas, on TV shows, right? All these things going here, but not even allowed to make her own medical choices. That's nuts. But she finally got to say her book, or speak her truth with her book, which I obviously read. I'm so happy she finally got to say things, and I'm so proud that people are open enough to not be judgmental like they used to, because back then things were different then, and, you know, interviewers could ask those questions and it wasn't really frowned upon, right? But nowadays, I look at many people, and many people don't know who they are anymore, let alone what they're supposed to do. And so let's say that this mental breakdown of what, let's say, Britney Spears in 2008 had today, it would be nothing. It would be such a blip on whatever. There's people doing far more crazier things, right? It's just like, I understand that not wanting to be touched. especially when you're very empathetic. I go into a store like Walmart, it's an empty aisle, but people still need to bounce into me. They need to touch me. And I know that it's my energy bringing them in, and I need to have better boundaries. That's another thing in every video, better boundaries. We need better boundaries. But yeah, I wouldn't want people touching me and like doing my hair and all that. I'm in a major hermit mode, so of course I can empathize with all of that. So she's been through a lot. Her book shared so much. And you know what? Okay, out of all of it, there was one part that really got me. There's lots of parts that got me, but it was at the very end. And I don't feel like I'm going to wreck it for you if I say it, because so much has been everywhere. But she said, it's not that I was too stupid. It's that I was too kind. And people took advantage of that. When I read that, I was like, ooh. So, Spirit, I would love to tap into our collective viewers' energy now, right? And how can they interact with the collective energy everywhere? I think pop culture and media and everything really does have a big influence on us, and we are easily persuaded, but we also can learn from it, right? What do we give our focus and attention to? So they're saying 5 of these and 2 of those. Really? I was like, those are the Britney Spears ones. Why can't we have 5 of those ones and 2 of these? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And for 2, we got 1 and 2. Okay. So for the Britney Spears Oracle cards, the first one that came up is Dump Him in reverse. And then the next one is the Space Princess in reverse. Let me see. Are these all in the upright? Because if that's the case, then no, they're all upright. So we're not going to do reversals. Yeah, no reversals. Okay, so we got Dump 'em, and then we got the Space Princess. Well, we all know about this time, right? What was going on in Britney's life at this time? Well, she did get dumped, and it was through that text. So, a betrayal. The energy I'm picking up is, what do you do when outside circumstances are so out of your control? How can we handle them? So the first one we got is the 4 of Pentacles. 4 of Pentacles is talking about holding on to money and things like that. So if you're trying to think of leaving something or letting something go, that is the first thought. Can I make it? If I go off on my own, will I be successful? Will I be successful? And so what is success is what they want to ask. What is success to you? Because if your answer is to have a lot of money at the end of the day, you're not successful and you don't understand what success is. So first question, to avoid being like a money hungry person, what is it to you that you need? Right here, he's in the quicksand. He's sinking, sinking, sinking. It's almost engulfed him. And he's reaching up and he thinks that this money is going to solve his problems. But really, what is this money going to do to help him get out of the quicksand? Well, maybe it could buy him a cell phone to call someone. But guess what? There's no stores around. He doesn't have that phone with him right now. So, yeah. So I'm looking around, taking account of resources. And realizing that what I see around me and maybe what I put my time, energy, and attention to isn't quite gonna sustain me after, right? Because then we have the Space Princess. And I'm watching the Matt Damon movie. Was it called Mars or The Last Astronaut or something like that? I think it's Matt Damon, but it's the one where he goes on to space and he's there alone, and it's his like trial, and he comes up with a way to grow food and how to bring condensation so that he has water, and he goes through all these things. And one day he thinks he's got everything good, right? We got a routine, but then something comes and sideswipes him and it wrecks all that. So let's see what the rest of the story is here, right? So we want to change, we want something else, we're feeling a little bit isolated. Yeah, feeling isolated for sure. The space princess. And then in the next one here that we have is the hermit. The hermit is in reverse. And so that's why I'm seeing that movie with Matt Damon and Mars. It's saying, okay, I said we're not going to do reversals, but this, I don't know. This is a question for you, they're telling me, because you could take it however the story plays out in your case. So what I'm seeing in this story with the energy of the cards is someone being in hermit mode, and isolating, and they've built all their resources and their survival tactics, but when it comes to it, anything could come and sideswipe. So it's really saying build that community, right? So dumping someone, leaving it, could be no, we're not. Sorry guys, I realized that this is actually a card spread. I don't do card spreads often. I usually just do the cards and what I hear and what they tell me and where I'm pulled and like whatever. But this one actually is a spread. So the position of this is what you're doing that you're asked not to do. And it's hermit in reverse. This is you are going out into public and, trying to latch on to others. So I do see that. Thank you. Okay, I'm seeing this story. Right? Being scared that you can't make something on your own. But guess what? You can, because when it's divinely guided and when you're in your effortless ease, right? When your soul is able to expand and flow and tap into the creative energies that it wants, it will unravel so effortlessly. But when you're worried about making financial ends meet and staying in situations that that don't serve you, because I gotta stay here because if I do that, we'll just make ends meet. Well, if you really are meant to leave a situation and it's not good for you, I'm not saying you need to cut someone out, but maybe you could have roommates. Maybe you could rent out a room, maybe something else. There's just so many. Maybe you can get a camper van, maybe a Class B camper van. That's what I want. That would be so fun. But it's saying not to rely on others for your stability right now. Because if that comes and something comes and knocks you off, and let's say they take off, or worst case scenario, they pass away, and you're left and you're like, well, I didn't learn these skills because I never had to learn these skills. It's going to put you in a situation where now it is now added stress on it. Now it's almost like an emergency that you need to learn this faster. Whereas if you learn now and start focusing and building your own foundation, you can work at your own pace, where it's fun, where it's not needed to be done right now. So what should you be doing right now? We've got the Chariot. I just keep hearing the Britney Spears song, Why Don't You Do Something? They've been playing that one over and over again. That's not my favorite one, especially when it gets stuck in your head. But let's tap into the energy. The energy as I get into it is like that. They're showing me the princess to go to this. It's not a space princess. I'm getting more wanting to be more of that you know, this is after something has kind of come and grinded you. This is what I'm getting. Something that is going to wreck your reputation, per se. And it's that grit, and it's that finally rebelling, and like, you know, I'm seeing a fur coat kind of shawl thing, and it's like on, and it's like, all right, that's enough. Like, and then that kind of like bougie, like gotta always follow the rules, and you know, super uptight, and like throwing that off, and then like, you know, like then finally the dancing. Of course dancing's gonna come through. It's Britney Spears. So, chariot, movement, energy, move your body, get out there, take action into your own hands, right? It's not to rely on the others, right? This money situation, money comes, money goes. It doesn't matter, you know, how you find your community, you'll find your community. And it's saying not to rely on others, though. Right? It is nice to be a part of something, but it's even nicer when you can bring something and contribute it to the group. The outside information that we're not quite seeing is the Page of Cups. It was in reverse. With this card, I just see how like bright and youthful, and like, you know, it's that young. I bet we can all relate. There is always one thing that has kind of stole our innocence. And it's after that one thing that we can never go back and be the same. I know what my moment is. And I think from healing from those moments, I'm still healing. Everyone's still healing. It's a forever thing. When you think you're finally over it, it might come up in a different way. And, you know, and you're like, oh, gotta let it go again. But I do remember the moment where I felt like my innocence was taken, or, you know, what do you want to share about this, Spirit? Because it was in reverse. It's just that outside energy of what they're wanting to share. So they're showing someone, so I'm seeing like teen, early womanhood, about that kind of age, right? We're like, that's where you're like, you could do anything, right? Your energy is so like, you wake up after a night of partying, nothing phases you, like you're invincible, right? You could do anything. And then you go and something kind of sideswipes you. And what about that? They're saying go back to that kind of moment. What do you mean, kind of moment? What does that even mean? They say go back to that moment, not a kind of moment, but it kind of is that. Because back then, you needed that lesson for what was going on then. Where you are now, you don't quite need that lesson. That's what we mean by kind of. And so things have grown and changed. And so what the root of it is a little bit different, but what you now are fine tuning is a bit different up here. And so it is at the root of it to work on the inner child healing of that lost innocence, and providing them with the support that they needed in that moment. And what does that mean? What I just like to do is I go to those moments where I didn't feel like I had anyone, where, you know, you're having those panic attacks, and I send my love and energy to the younger version of myself. And it's weird because when I do it, I feel it almost received in the present. So there is a little bit of this innocence taken, but you can't stay mad at that, because what have you become after because of it? Remember that. That is so important. That is your why. You are who you are, and why you believe what you believe, and why your heart is the way your heart is. So the next one we have left is the King of Swords. King of Swords is intellectual, with his words, very strict and to the point. All right. I'm picking up on something that I did not pick up on earlier, but it does still come back to this dump of energy. I'm picking up on someone who, this innocence card, I'm picking up on someone who still is energetically around the person who kind of hurt that innocence. Now, when I say innocence, I know a lot of bad images probably come to your mind, but it could be the most innocent, slightest thing, right? It could be something so simple as like a kid being really excited and being like, I learned this new song, let me show you this new song, and they sing it on top of their lungs, and you're like, oh, you're being too loud, like, shut up, you're a bad singer or something. I don't know. We'll take singer, especially because we're dealing with Britney Spears. But in that moment, that could have really took that thunder. That could have just really stopped it, and that could have taken the voice, and they were like, oh, I can't express myself this way. So whatever that meant for the innocence for you, but what I'm picking up on is someone who's still around that energy. And so when you're bombarded by someone who constantly takes your innocence from you, so what am I seeing? I'm seeing someone not be malicious. This person is a team player. This is someone who cares about the group and the collective, and they always try to do the right thing. They're very kind. They're very sweet and soft and gentle. That's the energy that they are. And so I am picking up that another energy has been manipulating them. And what do I mean by manipulating? It's just taking advantage of them, making them I'm seeing almost like taking someone like Britney Spears. This is about the Kevin Federline air, right? Because that's what that shirt, the baby bump one, baby on board. I'm seeing someone see this spectacular person and like just try to like wife them up and like make them just like a housewife, or you just do chores for me and you now do my errands and you're pretty much my slave and I'm a slave for you. Hell no, right? I wonder if when you sing, would you really want to sing those words if you knew that your words had that much power? Ooh. There's that picture. But yeah, so with this person who's still around, Spirit, let's give some more advice on that. Oh, it's to be sharp with your tongue. That's what they're saying, is you do need to stand up for yourself. You can't, and that's the quote. It said, I'm not stupid, I was just too kind. And so sometimes your kindness can be used against you, and your kindness could become your weakness. And so if somebody is taking advantage of you and they are finding that you're in this situation where you feel like you're suffocating and you're drowning, that's not okay. That's where you have to put up those boundaries and say, this is what I need, right? Others won't come and fix and change it and do it all for you. This is an inside job. This is getting your voice back. How many years? 13 years. Britney Spears was suppressed in the conservatorship. And then when she got her voice, all the documentaries did it without her permission and never even stopped to check and all these things. So that's where a bit of the hurt with the group collective is. And so what is the message of this all is to empower yourself, right? The forward movement chariot card. That's you taking your wheels into your own hands, right? The balancing, we got the two dogs there, right? It's forward momentum. And the last and final card was the King of Swords, which is speaking up. It's using your voice to say what it is that you need and what it is that you feel deep within is no longer serving you. I think if you stay here too long, what will happen if you stay there too long? They say pull new card. So we got movie star. And now I'm hearing the song, she's so lucky, she's a star. But there is an opportunity coming for you. And that's why it's so important to have these boundaries and clear up your space. And, you know, if somebody is taking, you know, what I'm seeing is you have your savings and they're always like, oh, emergency, I need your money. And they, you know, use you as a ATM. Oh, forgot my wallet. But they put you, there's a leech. There's a leech somewhere taking your money. And, yeah, it's pretty much, okay, so what I was zoning in on is there was the leech. That's the first time I saw the leech there. And then when I zoned in on the King of Swords, it's a butterfly. And that's it, is you can speak up for yourself. You can say your truth. And truth might hurt someone, but it needs to be said because it's kind. It's said, it's meant with love. But sometimes what we hear, we don't really want to hear. This energy, that's what the current situation is. It needs to evolve to a, yeah, somebody's got a leech. And it's taking their innocence and their time and their effort and their resources. But it's that innocence. It's that, what I'm seeing is like maybe when you guys, let's say it is a relationship, right? Because this, fit it how it will for your story. And don't fit every story to be your story if it ain't your story. You know, you feel it. But, oh, lost my train of thought. Sorry, I just heard people outside. Any last messages? Because we're not going to go even try and find that one. I didn't even feel like it was that insightful. They're like, no. You guys are good. That's what it is. Okay, so when you first met someone, it was like maybe like love at first sight, like sparks flying, all these kind of things. And so it went so fast. It just grew. And that's what I'm seeing is like, you know, you had all these wishes and this is the energy that was presented. And then I do see something coming along, kind of sideswiping and taking that, right? It was almost that like, yeah, like I'm getting like at a carnival and you're like so ready to go on the rides. And then someone being like, sorry, like you got to be this tall in order to get on the rides. And so, you know, you got to leave the park. And like that, like excitement of everything that you build up for until the point where it's like, oh, that's that lost innocence feeling that they say. And it's not really lost, they say. It's not going to come back at the same way it was then because you're not the same person now. You've grown and you evolved and maybe you've, you know, you've gotten mad. And I think that that's what it is that there's so many people who have had so many things done to them who never got mad. They just keep letting people do crappy things to them. But like Britney Spears, how did she put up with so much of it? And I know she did it because of her kids and things like that, but wow. Wow is all I can say. And so 13 years to go through that and perform and be tired and all that. So she's free to do what she wants now. And now that things are coming, sorry, there's just so much outside my door and everyone keeps bumping it. Anyways, let's leave it there. Have a good day, guys. And we'll see you later.